I grew up in a family that sang. I thought about it the other day. We were on our way to the streets, and one of my running playlists was booming through the Jackets for Jesus van. As we were going, it was just Mark and Jody and I in the van, and so it was playing pretty loud. It was that old song, Lola. And I noticed that on the chorus, every single time, Jody was singing along. Jody's got a pretty voice. I could see her mouthing the songs, words not too loudly, but just singing along. And I laughingly said, you gotta wonder what it's like for someone whose name is Lola since the advent of this song. And Jody looked up and said, well, I think it's such a pretty name. And Mark and I looked at her and I said, yeah, it is. It's a beautiful name. I said, I've got friends named Lola. I said, but I mean, you know what the song's about. And she said, what do you mean? And so Mark and I proceeded to explain the verses of the song to her and forever ruin it for her in every single way as we told her the story of the song. And if you don't know it, ask a friend. But I thought about my family. I grew up in a family where we sang the verses. Not everybody sings the verses. My brother Danny played the guitar from when he was a kid, and I remember him singing old Hoyt Axton songs, so many old Hootenanny songs, so many songs from the times we were kids. He's 6 years older than I am, and he knew all the verses. I was always amazed that he could remember the chords and the verses. However, I think mostly he played G, C, and D, but I'm not sure. But he knew the words, he knew the verses, he knew the chords. My brother Tim was a serious audiophile. I mean, even as kids, he would run down to Musical Jewel Box and get a 45. And then I remember when he graduated to albums and started bringing home all these albums. And then when he moved out, he bought a really cool stereo. And it was my highest point if I could buy one of Tim's old stereos and old speakers, because he was into it and he knew the words, he knew the verses, he knew the social impact behind every single song. My sister Kathleen has always had a beautiful voice. She's the one in the family who picked up Dad's voice in any way, shape, or form. And she carried it out. She sang specials. She sang in choirs. She did all that kind of stuff and knew all the words. I've often thought about Kathleen when Julia will be singing. My daughter Julia, we make fun of her because she knows the words to every single song in the world. We used to go on family vacations and she would be singing along, and I think this is a song she's never even heard. And John would say she was just making it up as she went along. And so we'd turn off the radio and sure enough, she knew the words. I don't know how Julia does it, how her mind works, but she knows the words to everything. Me, not so much. I don't know all the words. I don't know that I have that great a voice, but I grew up singing all the verses. And I found that in the wealth of the verses, there's so much more than just the chorus. Because the chorus, it's that hook. It's that which catches us on. It's where the whole crowd starts to sing. It's where we all get involved. But it's in the verses where the work is done. Growing up for us, it was in the verses of church songs like Victory in Jesus and Old Rugged Cross and Amazing Grace. All those songs that most people knew the chorus to, but we knew all the verses to because we sang them. Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. A mighty fortress is our God, a bulwark never failing. We knew the verses, not just what went along in the tagline, but we sang them all the time. They were written across our heart. They were written across our home. They were written across our family. I run every Sunday morning to Sandy Patty. When I just started doing the video, I was listening to Sandy Patty and Josh Groban do that song in Italian and English, let this be our prayer. And I don't know all the words in Italian or English. But my heart was strangely moved, and I was inspired, and I was warmed, and I was made ready for the day ahead, as I am every Sunday with my playlist called Sandy on Sunday. I start off my Sunday mornings every week with Sandy and her friends, singing together in my head, reverberating in my spirit. First song this morning was Upon This Rock of revelation, I'll build a strong and mighty nation. And I thought about, and it will stand the test of time, upon this rock. thought about the blessing of the verses in life. You know, your life is made up of more than a course. Your life is made up of more than just the tagline that you get through the day with. Your life is made up of the verses that get you through each day. Our lives are made up of the verses, the depth, the wealth, the sorrow, the heartbreak, the love, the joy. And what we want in our life are people who don't just know the course. Oh yeah, I know him, I know her. Who don't just recognize us on the street, but they take the time to get to know the verses of our lives. They take the time to know what we're really about. Who really knows what you're about in your life? And who have you opened up often enough to that you've allowed them to sing your verses, to know your verses, to share them clearly, and to celebrate the fact that these people know my verses, not just my tagline, not just my course, not just the hook that draws them in, but they know the verses of my life, and they sing them in wonder. It's Sunday. We're going to have a church picnic today. The weather, absolutely spectacular. I'm getting in 5 or 6 miles before I head off to the church. I got home last night around 11:30 after pulling pork. I've got pork in my teeth as I'd pull the little tossed aside pieces aside, and that's what I ate yesterday. And I thought part of what I do in this Be the Miracle series is I want you to know the verses of my life. And I want to know the verses of your life as well. You see, imagine coming to the end and all anybody ever knew about you was the course. That would be something, because maybe they could have known nothing about you. But how much sweeter had they known all the verses, or at least 1 or 2 verses, and know the depth of your being. You see, we have to let someone in for them to know the verses. We have to open our hearts. We have to choose to be a part of each other. Are you choosing to be a part today? Are you choosing to let others in and say, you know, I want you to know the hard parts, and I want you to know the scary parts, and I want you to know the celebrating parts, and I want you to know the successful parts of my life. Let's share together. I want you to know the verses. Hey, today go out, share your verses with someone, take a risk, be the miracle. You may not have the kind of secrets that Lola had to share, but who knows, you might. Share your secrets, share your verses, and then let someone get to know you fearlessly. Love each other. God bless you. Have a fantastic day. A great place to start that is at the picnic today. It's going to be hot in Riverside. I mean, like Riverside hot. And we've got, courtesy of my friend Joe Reamer, miraculously in heaven today, we've got a beautiful water slide at the church. Come on out. We'll get on the water slide together. We'll have fun out there in 90-degree weather out in the church park at Central Community, 12 noon today. Bring some great food. God bless you. Have a fantastic day. I want you to know the verses of my life, so that someday when I'm gone, you'll be able to sing every bit of it, every word, without missing a beat. Be the miracle today. Thanks so much for watching.